Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of God. He said, Prema Pumartho Mahan, to achieve love of God, is the highest perfection of life. The same perfection is recommended by Kardama Muni to his wife. His wife belonged to a very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devahuti was a princess coming from a very great royal family, fortunately she was under the supervision of the great husband, Kardama Muni, who offered her the best gift which can be bestowed in human life, the grace of the Lord or love of God. This grace of the Lord was achieved by Devahuti by the goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person, with great sincerity, love, affection and service. And Kardama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. Love of God is not ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he distributed love of God, Krishna Prema, to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanyaya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness is the highest gift which can be bestowed to on anyone whom we presume to love. One word used in this verse, Nijadharma Dohan, is very significant. Devahuti, as a wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect, and the lives of both the wife and husband are at once fulfilled. So Kardama Muni is blessing Devahuti with his transcendental, sharing his transcendental opulences of jnana, vairagya and bhakti to Devahuti. Being pleased by her service was a cause for bestowing upon her all the wonderful gifts, especially, as Prabhupada explains here, love of God. Love of God is the highest gift that a living entity can get. And love of God is not something that you can earn. It is not something that you can buy. Love of God is something that one gets from a devotee who has love of God. Love of God is given by the devotee. That is the reason why Lord himself came as Bhakta Rupa, as a devotee, and he distributed love of God to everyone. We, including us, we are getting the benefit of being on the path of love of Godhead. Because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord himself has come as Bhakta Avatara and distributed this love of Godhead, and his messenger Srila Prabhupada took this great gift and offered it all over the world. As Kardama Muni is saying, that anything else that you possess, just by the movement of the eyebrows of Vishnu, it's all destroyed. It's all wiped out. So what is the use of any material possessions? Entire material world itself, including our bodies, everything is wound up at the end of Kalpa. And then it goes into Mahavishnu's body. So what is all these opulences? What is all these possessions? So a devotee, he has only possession of Krishna, Krishna Nama, and he has possession of his devotion to his Guru and Krishna. These are the possessions. that the devotee is trying to acquire. Devotee does not try to acquire any other possession. All other possessions, whatever is required for the service of the Lord, these things they just come when the Lord decides to give that. The devotee who is engaged in devotion service, he is not worried about the resources even for preaching Krishna consciousness. Devotee is simply engaged in the desire, constantly desiring to be engaged in the mission of the spiritual master, how to please the spiritual master. So, by pleasing, yesterday we saw in the verse, by pleasing the spiritual master, you get the blessings of Krishna. Similarly, Kardama Muni has achieved the blessings of Krishna, and he is saying that I am very pleased with your service, therefore I am bestowing upon you those transcendental gifts so that you can enjoy them. And he says, for those who are very attached to aristocracy and material opulence, material possessions, for them this is very difficult to hold on, even if it is given. Because that is the nature of this material energy. Akinchana gochara. Nothing should be sticking to his soul. A devotee means nothing should stick to his soul. His body also should not stick to the soul. What should stick to his soul is the holy name of the Lord. What should stick to his soul is a devotion to the spiritual master. What should stick to his soul is his identification as servant of Krishna. What should stick to his soul is exclusive desiring for the Lord, exclusive doing for the Lord. I will not do anything other than devotion service. So these are the opulences that a Vaishnava is seeking. And these are all very, as it is said, they are all transcendental gifts. Gifts are always coming from some person. Yesterday we discussed how if we are devoted to Srila Prabhupada, then the Super Soul will gift us these things. Because Devahuti was devoted to Kardama Muni, she is getting qualified for receiving this mercy from the Lord. Not qualified in the material sense. She's attracted the mercy of the Lord. In spiritual life, you don't qualify for the mercy, but you do something to attract the mercy of the Lord. You show your sincerity, which reflects your desire to get the mercy of the Lord. That is why it is called mercy, that's why it's called costless mercy. Then you may say, no, cost is there now. Devahuti had so much of, she worked very sincerely, very hard. She worked for Kardama Muni. That is why she got all this transcendental opulence. So how is it costless? Costless means there is no match between the effort you put and what you get. Suppose you work for 5 rupees. Then I give you 5 lakh rupees. Then you will say, costlessly I got 5 lakh rupees. Then you may say, no, 5 rupees was cost. Okay, 4 lakh 95 was costless. 5. So there is something that you have offered, and it is not, what you get is not commensurate with what you have offered. And it is a fact that we can never, by our own effort, qualify for bhakti. Always bhakti, the gifts of bhakti is bestowed by Paramatma, bestowed by spiritual master. If you want to have bhakti for Guru also, Super Soul will give you the bhakti for Guru. If you want bhakti, sometimes devotees ask how to develop devotion to Srila Prabhupada. You have to get from somebody who has got devotion to Srila Prabhupada. Who has got devotion and love? Who has got love for Prabhupada? Krishna. So you want love for Prabhupada, you have to get from Krishna. You want love for Prabhupada, you have to get from Paramatma. You have to pray to Paramatma. And you want love for Krishna, where do you get it from? From Prabhupada. Because he has it. So somebody can give something only what he has. So, everywhere in devotional life, a devotee is always seeking, anticipating mercy while offering service to the Lord, while offering whatever to the best of his capacity. And he never thinks the result is commensurate with his efforts. I put so much effort, therefore I got it. In one way, materially, it looks connected. If I hadn't done this, it would not have come. That is fine. That truth you can always, truth is truth. But to think that what I achieved is because of what I gave, that is not correct. Just like Prabhupada gives the example of the bird emptying the ocean. In Bhagavad Gita, he gives example. The mother bird lost her eggs in the ocean, and then she was very attached to those eggs, and she was very determined to get back the eggs from the ocean. So she demanded the ocean, please give my eggs back. Nothing was happening, eggs were not coming back. So she was so determined. She did not think whether she can reasonably achieve or not. She simply started emptying the ocean with her beak. Is it possible? Not possible. It's a very beautiful example. Very beautiful example. Many philosophical principles can be derived from this example. And then Garuda, the bird of all birds, appears there and then sees the devotion of the bird. And Garuda demands Samudra, ocean, return her egg. The personality of ocean returns the egg on the order of Garuda. Because the ocean knows that if I don't, Garuda can empty the ocean. So immediately he returned. Now the small bird got the eggs. Now if the bird thinks, I am so powerful, I was emptying the ocean and the ocean gets scared of me and returned the egg. This is called puffed upness. Same thing when we do services also to Prabhupada and Krishna. We should not think in this way. We should think that I was pecking drops of ocean, trying to empty it. But it is Guru and Krishna's mercy that made this service possible, made this result possible. So when a devotee is engaging in service in this spirit, the advantage is he is always anticipating the mercy of the Lord. Because he is always thinking that I am falling short of what is required for this service. I am falling short of the hard work that is required for this service. I am falling short of the Vaishnava qualities required for this service. I am falling short of the patience required for this service. I am falling short of the tolerance required for this service. I am falling short of determination required for this service. And when you fall short, what do? You anticipate the mercy of the Lord. Ultimately, I can do this service by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. By the mercy of the Paramatma, I can do this. So in this way, there is nothing that the devotee is doing as a devotional service independently. In the work, the Lord is involved. That is why Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita, Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. You offer your work to me. Whatever work you're doing, devotional service only. Devotional service should be, the work itself should be offered to me. I am your partner. Devotee never thinks that he is doing any work together. He is always thinking he is doing in partnership with Super Soul. Every activity, Tameva sharanam gaccha, surrender unto him utterly, Krishna says. To whom? The Lord in the heart. By his guidance, by his intelligence. The Super Soul is the intelligence form of the Lord. He will give the intelligence. Dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayantite. He will give the intelligence by which the devotee will achieve the service. And we all have, according to our karma, at different times we have got intelligence. It is just like father gives pocket money. The father gives pocket money 100 rupees. And you want to buy something for 1000 rupees. Then you go and, you anticipate 900 rupees from the father. While anticipating 900 rupees from the father, you are seeing that I have got 100 rupees. Even that 100 rupees, he doesn't think it is his. My father only gave me. Just it is with me. Similarly, even in the devotee's karmic intelligence, karmic abilities that he has got, he thinks that it is just given to me by the Lord. That I am offering, and whatever is the difference, the Lord is giving. So in this way, whatever he has also, he doesn't think it is his. The bird is emptying the ocean, he doesn't think that ability is his. Okay, in this life, in this karma, it has been given to me. I can use it. So in this way, the devotee does not feel attachment to any possession that he has got. Even if he is karmically very intelligent, he does not think he is detached from the possessiveness of that, because he knows it is on behalf of the Lord I have got it. I have to engage it on behalf. It's not mine. In this way, the devotee is always like a free bird. The devotee is light. More and more possessions come, he becomes heavy. Possession, emotional possessions. This is mine, this is mine, this is that, this possession. Even service also, some possession. Then the soul becomes heavy. When you become heavy, what happens? You will be in the ground. If you want to fly, you have to be light. So you want to fly transcendentally always in devotions. While doing service also, you want to fly. Then we should not have sense of possession of any of these things. Anything belongs to me. Everything belongs to Krishna. And a pure devotee goes one more step up. Everything belongs to Krishna. And one more step he goes. What is that? I also belong to Krishna. I also belong to Krishna. Everything that I have belongs to Krishna. Everything that God is going to give me to do His service also belongs to Krishna. Then what am I? If you belong to Krishna, then your role is you're a servant of Krishna. Just like a finger, it has to serve the body. The finger belongs to the body. It has to serve the body. So Devahuti is being blessed with all these things because of her devotion to Guru. Husband is a Guru here. In the material sense, if you see also, a wife has to be faithful to the husband. That is a very important principle. Something is not in my husband, the wife cannot shop around somewhere else. My husband does not have this. That's called unfaithfulness. My husband is not polished. My husband is not very this area. So many lists there will be. Every wife will have. Because nobody is perfect. So then this is not there, that is not. Because what happens, a woman also when she is born, she has got certain karmic expectations. When she is born also. Her nature. Different people. She will be thinking, my husband should be this type, that type, this type, that thing, this. But then if you see that the husband is not that type. Something you will be satisfying, nothing other. Whereas then suddenly you see somebody else is having all those things also. But he may not be having the things that are here. So that's what I said, shopping. Shopping for love, shopping for affection from somebody else is unfaithful. This has a great implication even in spiritual life. Somebody who trains herself to be faithful to the husband in spite of whatever shortcomings are there, will develop the principle of faithfulness very strongly in that person's heart. Just like you see, even in the case of spiritual life, sometimes people can be faithless to different degrees in their relationship with Guru. Faithless. What is that faithlessness? They also sometimes shop around. Shop around for better knowledge. Okay, what my Guru gave, okay, let me also find out what that Guru is saying. Let me find out what the Mayavadi Bhagavad Gita says. Shopping around. Or even within the Gaudiya Vaishnavism itself, sometimes we shop around. Because there are shades of vibrations of each devotee. My spiritual master has a shade of vibration. My spiritual master's Prabhupada's shade of vibration is preach, preach, preach. There could be another Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava, who will be thinking that no, just sit in Radha Kund and do jap, 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 jap. Now you have accepted Prabhupada, now be faithful to Prabhupada. So we have to be faithful to Srila Prabhupada, we have to be faithful to his vibration, you have to be faithful to his teachings. This is not fanaticism, this is faithfulness. Faithfulness is different, fanaticism is different. Somebody who has still not become personal in his relationship with his spiritual master, he will feel like, oh, I can't be fanatic like this. Prabhupada. World is so big. There is Shastra everywhere. No, that you should have decided before surrendering to his lotus feet. Once you have surrendered to his lotus feet, Be faithful to the point, to the fine details. Be faithful. You have come to spiritual master for an eternal relationship. You have not even come to spiritual master. Initially you may, but I am not continuing my spiritual master's relationship for a transaction of knowledge. Suddenly he'll stop giving knowledge, goodbye. This is a transactional mentality. Just like a wife, if the husband provides or not, she will stick to him and serve him. A faithful wife to a husband is a very excellent example to understand all the elements of how a disciple should be to a spiritual master. How a disciple should be to a spiritual master. Because ultimately our goal is relationship with Krishna, love of Godhead. Our goal is, purpose of knowledge is also love of Godhead. Purpose of knowledge is not love of Godhead. Purpose of knowledge is love of Godhead. So only from Srila Prabhupada, it's all a mercy. That vibration of devotion, that vibration of relationship with Krishna, you cannot intellectually generate all these things. It is transcendentally bestowed. We have to understand, in bhakti you cannot progress without a relationship with Guru. And if you don't have relationship with the Guru, please pray to Super Soul, Chaitya Guru. He will give you the paradigm of love of Guru. He will give the paradigm. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
You had said that devotee never thinks independently. He has no sense of possession. Means he thinks that everything belongs to Krishna. He also belongs to Krishna, and everything that he achieves is also because of Krishna. So where is the sense of doing? What is the impetus for him to do? Because when he sees that he is also Krishna's, and everything belongs to Krishna, and whatever he achieves also for Krishna's pleasure. So what is the sense of, he says that everything sense of doing. So because ultimately everything Krishna is doing. So what is the push? What is the impetus for him to do better for Krishna?
You are spiritually doing, yeah? You are spiritually doing. I want to raise my hand. Entire three modes of material nature is involved. Material energy is moving. Prakriti krimanani gune karmani sarvasha. Ahankara vimudatma kattaham iti manyate. No. Material energy. Material energy is further guided by Mayadekshana suvete sacharacharam. By his superintendence, this material energy is moving. Now, why is the material energy moving? Because you initiated your desire to serve. So now we don't have a spiritual body. Whatever we are doing, it has to happen through this material body. Whatever we do in this material world, in terms of result, everything is in the field of material energy. We are in an identified world. The power to move things in this identified world is only with Vishnu. Not a blade of grass will move without his sanction. But the spiritual desiring is yours. So you are given, so you want to serve the Lord. You are desiring to lift the hand. You are desiring to lift the hand. And everything else is, it's a very simple example. This is an action. Actually, we are talking about an activity. An activity means a set of actions bringing to an end result. So in that, this aspect of intelligence is there. Intelligence is what connects actions to activity, to make it into an activity. So there, your personal intelligence, karmic intelligence is there. That is where super soul's intelligence is coming. He's intervening with the devotee's intelligence. In a karmi, when he does something, he's also soul. He's also not doing anything. But he desires. When he desires according to what he deserves, the material energy Kala delivers him that intelligence. If he doesn't, he cannot achieve. In the case of a devotee also, in devotee, it is different. The Lord intervenes by bringing his intelligence. And the devotee specifically appreciates this personal role of the Lord. He gave me the intelligence. He is seated in everybody's heart. He is speaking. And not only in service, not only he intervenes with our intelligence. The super soul intervenes with the karmi's intelligence also. In our service. Suppose you are going and asking somebody something, some favor. You want to collect some donation for Krishna. You go. He gives you intelligence, what to speak. You have your karmic intelligence, you are speaking. But since you are Chetasa Sarva Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha, that you are put in the pool. Your karmic intelligence, you are put in the pool of intelligence. All that you have, you are put in the pool. Now Krishna mixes what intelligence is required, which you do not have according to your karma, and finally you end up speaking. You speak to him. Now suppose Krishna has decided this man should get that devotional service. Check should be written. Then the super soul will sit inside him and he will get idea, kar denge. And he will sign the check. So that is how everything is, the Lord is completely involved in everything in this material world. Directly for the devotees, indirectly for the karmis. So it is correct. Materially we are not doing anything. Bhagavad Gita Krishna says no. Nature is said to be the cause of all activities. The soul is just enjoying and is experiencer, that's all. Sukha and dukkha. Any other question? So you get credit for what you deserve. What is it? You are not matter. You are spirit. So what spirit does, you will get credit. In this entire system, you are getting the credit, doing credit. You are getting the doing credit for what you really do. What you really do is you gave your attention, you gave your desiring capacity, you gave your these fundamental spiritual soul properties there. These things you have given. You gave your Ichcha Shakti. You gave your Asha Shakti. Asha means aspirations. Ichcha means desire and decisions. You giving those things. And then rest is following. That is devotional service, not in pure knowledge. Devotional service in pure knowledge. Pure devotional service cannot be in ignorance. Everything is very clear. I am not the body, I am soul, what is my role, this thing, everything is clear. Pure devotional service means it is in knowledge. It is in Sattva Guna. Pure knowledge is there. You see things as they are. But devotional service in the mode of passion, devotional service in the mode of ignorance, is the path to go more forward. devotion service is in mode of ignorance. As long as you're determined to go on doing devotion service, the mode of ignorance will go on decreasing. Then devotion service in the mode of passion. As long as you're determined devotion service, you don't give up devotion service, passion will decrease. Then goodness will decrease. Then pure goodness will come. That is pure devotion service. So step by step we move forward. Overnight we cannot engage in pure devotion service. Because the Lord also is very kind. You want still some material desires are there, I did it, let him burn it. So you experience it, you experience the ahankara, I did it, I am successful. That rasa you enjoy. Paramatma is saying, let him enjoy. In devotion service only, no, let him enjoy. I'll handle it. And somewhere he will give him one slap. Without slap, you cannot get relieved from material energy. It's not possible. You will get a nice knock. Every devotee will get different knocks at different times from the Lord. To get detached from and start thinking. Have, losing faith in material nature. Material abilities. Bodily concept of life.
If somebody is very seriously wanted to follow the devotional service, there is a chance of getting less slap or no slap, Prabhu.
Huh?
If somebody seriously wanted to follow Guru and Krishna very seriously and sincerely, very strictly, is chance of getting less slap or no slap also, Guru?
It all depends on Krishna. Each person is different. You see, in devotion service, each of our journey is highly personal. Because what all anarthas I have, what all attachments I have, all those things only Super Soul knows. Right? So sometimes, for some time, let us say, that's why I said, personalized teaching the Lord does for each devotee. Sarvasya cha aham hridhi sannivishta. Seated in everybody's heart. The lessons that are given, for instance, somebody may be very, very sincere. For some time, maybe for 2-3 years, everything will be very nice. That doesn't mean at the end of 3rd years he won't get a big slap. So you cannot say that somebody who is very sincere will get heavy test. Somebody who is not sincere will get lesser tests. No, it is personalized teaching. Every devotee get tough tests, simple tests, small slaps, big slaps. Is part of spiritual life. I will use the right word, material slaps. Krishna never spiritually slaps. It's material slaps, you get small slaps, big slaps. If you are detached, then material slap is not a slap at all. But as far as devotee is concerned, whatever is coming to him, at this right time, this is the teaching given to me, this is the lesson doled out to me. Somebody today morning sent a SMS from America saying that, oh, my great aunt died. This died this week. This week 3 people died. Okay, Bhagavad Gita, I understand, but it's very difficult to take it. So I wrote back to her one line saying, real life or real life incidents are loud lessons for the soul. These are loud lessons. Loudly it is speaking. When you see somebody's death, your close one is dying, it sends a lesson to the soul who is observing, who is seeing, who is having that pain of attachment. So continuously there is this material world, all these things are incorporated. So what should we respond? We should learn the lesson, that's all. So devotees who get all kinds of hardship, material slaps, they immediately understand what Krishna wants to teach me. And let me quickly learn that. And he'll quickly learn that. Then he is ready for the next lesson.
Actually, I misunderstood. The slap is not material slap. I thought spiritual slap. I misunderstood it is spiritual slap where we will miss the devotional service, particularly favorable environment by
No,
such
the
slaps.
spiritual slap is only for offenders. Material slap is different. Spiritual slap, if you define spiritual slap as somebody who's losing devotion service, that happens. If somebody offends Vaishnavas, then he loses devotional service. That is a different thing. That is the only case of a spiritual slap. Material nature will take care. But when a devotee gets this material slap, he understands that Krishna only is directly sanctioned it. Matter is slapping me, but he only has sanctioned it. Having good spiritual lessons, intentions for me to make me advance as a Chaitya Guru. So he has sanctioned it, the material slap. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय.